It was supposed to be a finely orchestrated publicity triumph for the renegade royals, a Netflix docuseries providing the Sussexes an opportunity to recast their media narrative on their own terms after years of alleged mistreatment and mischaracterizations at the merciless hands of Britain's salacious tabloids. But when the production crews started rolling cameras at Meghan and Harry's opulent Montecito estate for the first day of filming, they quickly realized they had stumbled straight into a domestic powder keg primed to detonate into full-blown reality show chaos. According to multiple on-set witnesses whose eyewitness accounts were corroborated by streamed voice memos, the problems began almost immediately once Meghan arrived for hair and makeup preparations in the couple's private luxury trailer village. A series of seemingly minor dust-ups over everything from her personal lighting temperature preferences to catering galvados regarding her favorite RBGH-free milk alternatives quickly snowballed into a towering prima donna-esque attitude that rapidly engulfed the entire set in an air of chilling toxicity. Right from the literal morning opening bell, you could just sense this unavoidable dread creeping across the crew guys as they feared another day under the scowling mini-stress of the Princess of Complance, said one veteran set decorator who'd worked on previous Archwell productions under condition of anonymity. It started with her ripping the door off one of our touch-up valets because Ivan's complexion brushes weren't achieving her patented, luminous Oprah beige, enough for the day's first scene blocking. And by mid-afternoon, multiple electrics were fleeing their rigs in panic because she decided to randomly punish them for some perceived lack of dainty vegan scones in the midday catering. But while Meghan's outrageous Hollywood diva behaviors may have briefly overwhelmed the production initially, the truly explosive hostilities didn't erupt until a flare-up seemingly triggered by Prince Harry himself later that afternoon. After an extended makeup delay forced shooting schedules catastrophically off-kilter, a clearly incensed Duke then compounded the setbacks by stubbornly refusing to participate in the day's filming until specific wardrobe alterations were made. And according to one producer, that ultimatum allegedly drew the raging Duchess's ire in a fashion far more vitriolic than any tantrum suffered by her on-camera glam squads. We were scrambling enough dealing with the usual thundering Markle meltdown du jour when all of a sudden Harry comes storming onto the set, looking fit to be protectively tied by royal cavalry reins, the producer recounted. Apparently he was demanding the loosening of a specific tunic seam that was riding up around his barrel ribs before he'd dare waddle onto the riser for any shooting. Well, that must have been the final ambient straw for Meghan, because without any warning she just whirled around and unleashed one of the most epically profane series of grotesque insults toward her husband I'd ever personally endured. In one of the voice memos obtained by The Cut, Meghan can allegedly be heard snarling at her husband to lose the feculent Teletubby gut before it achieves total reinvasion of the Canterbury conquests and cease with the soft load royaling about tailorly nips like some pruned Cressida derelict. She then purportedly escalated to a series of even more caustic taunts maligning the Duke's very masculinity, implying his very purpose in life had been reduced to rogue nursing the last lingering vestibules of authentic Englishmanhood out of your sponge pudding thatch. But if royal commentators assumed the infamously combative Duchess had hurled the most merciless artillery from her arsenal against Harry, they'd be thoroughly mistaken based on several ensuing audio snippets. In fact, Meghan appeared to be merely loading her primary poisoned rhetorical ordnance toward an even graver heretical insult campaign ridiculing the most sacred of all privileges Harry sacrificed in renouncing his royal birthright. Honestly, you make me embarrassed we ever even bred anything credibly pure enough to drool on the Fisher patent left behind at Wellington during your family's vile colonial rampages. Meghan's raging musings allegedly escalated per the audio transcripts, making crass reference to the most revered battle helmet once worn by the Duke of Wellington during his military campaigns on the Indian subcontinent. I'm literally disgusted at birthing those half-ginger mongrels out of the same raggedy sack that somehow defiled the fructified bloodline nourished by those noble Rajput warrior thugs of Bharat. According to the set decorator, it was at this point where a visibly deflated Prince Harry appeared to fully shatter under his wife's barrage and meekly retreat back to the couple's private trailer after motioning for hairdressers and wardrobe attendants to exit. Indeed, in one particularly damning snapshot of corroboration, a hunched-over aide going only by Justin can be seen fleeing the hair and makeup pavilion sobbing while muttering, "This one's not repairing another Family Guy savaging." You knew at that point the Duke had basically been stripped buck naked and feathered with the most vicious mockery of his entire family's ancestral identity, like hate-watching some ritual abuse pageantry of England's most hallowed forefathers having their sainted portraits tarred and urinated on right before your eyes, the set source grimly divulged. All that remained was awaiting the inevitable mushroom cloud after Meghan's thermobaric emasculation had detonated. Such sensational renderings may read like cringe-worthy humblebrag fiction lifted straight from the Montecito power couple's own rumored scripted reality show Bible. But according to another longtime industry colleague who previously worked extensively with Meghan on past TV projects, the Duchess's apparent contempt for those nearest to her blood often seethed perilously close to psychological abuse whenever her notorious narcissistic rage spiraled out of control. When I collaborated with Meghan on my third Hallmark movie of the week filming in Vancouver, I was honestly shocked at how openly derisive and verbally cruel she could become toward her own sibling and ailing mother Doria, revealed actor Dylan McGillicuddy, who played the beleaguered blue-collar handyman romantic foil to Meghan's affluent wine-tasting divorcee in A November Harvest's Pining. We're talking legitimate derriere tongue lashings of caustic ethnic slurs and epithets she peppered at her own poor mum after learning craft service had mistakenly provided Meghan her least favorite poutine for lunch one day on set. And then when Doria somehow didn't pick up on Meghan's non-stop bombardment of frantic beckonings at the height of one tantrum spiral because she was hard of hearing, I legit witnessed the now Duchess furiously snapping a wooden shower sandal across her own mother's damn cheek. Of course, Meghan's most ardent defenders were quick to dispute such explosive characterizations as sexist hit jobs authored by the Duchess's still-simmering adversaries in the Royal Rota, a long-standing contingent who never forgave her for jeopardizing their livelihoods with the Sussex's defection across the Atlantic. All these scurrilous embellishments seem to rather suspiciously track in lockstep rhythm with the ongoing culture of systematic misogynoir still plagued within too many quarters of the institutionally backwards UK tabloid industry, argued celebrity mythologist Chelsea de la Victory, author of Duchess Untamed, One Woman's Decolonial Struggle Against the Entrenched Biases of American Royalism. No wonder Meghan made the difficult yet patently justified choice to abdicate from that entire emotionally draining toxicity mill before it permanently corroded her soul any further. But if the Montecito meltdown audio anecdotes ring even partially true, the former Compton princess may be playing an increasingly high-stakes game of rhetorical Russian roulette against her husband's last remaining dignities as royal royalty. According to the production decorator, Meghan's potshots allegedly descended even deeper into unpatriotic blasphemies throughout her husband's most intimate remaining tethers of old Albion patrimony. We're talking a scale of full-blown heresy here, everything from her ranting about how even Harry